It's 12 minutes to 9 o'clock, and the car giant Ford has offered to refund thousands of pounds to customers after an investigation by the BBC. Hundreds of customers complained that their EcoBoost cars suffered total engine failure without warning. Some cars even caught fire, and it's left some owners out of pocket after they were told they had to pay for repairs themselves. One of Ford's three major manufacturing sites is in Bridgend, where they produce the 1.6-litre EcoBoost, along with other models. Louise O'Riordan had trouble with her car in 2016 and founded a Facebook group to find others in similar situations. Hello, Louise.
Hi, good morning.
And one of those in a similar situation was Rhiannon Jones from Cross Hands. Hi there, Rhiannon.
Hello, good morning.
Hi there. Well, tell me, Rhiannon, what happened to you then in May?
Well, I was driving. I got a 1 litre C-Max EcoBoost, and without warning, I experienced a loud bang, and then the car suddenly lost power. No warning lights at all. I've been unlucky. It happened within yards of a local independent garage, so I was able to leave the car there. Obviously, the engine had completely overheated. It was taken by a recovery vehicle to the main Ford dealer. The degas hose it was a hose carrying the coolant to the engine, had completely broken, so there was no coolant left in the engine whatsoever. And it doesn't bear thinking of what would have happened if I'd have carried on driving. I was told it could potentially have caught fire. So then I was left with a battle with Ford UK to try and get some of the money back, because I found Louise's Facebook group and followed the points that Louise had suggested we follow. And to and fro with Ford, they weren't very helpful. In the end, they offered 55% towards the cost of the engine, but it was nearly £6,000. And it was due to a fault that they knew about. So really, we shouldn't have been out of pocket any money. I understand now that we should be reimbursed, but it doesn't go far enough really, because we were inconvenienced. I've lost confidence in the vehicle, so when it was repaired, I didn't feel safe driving, especially as I've got a disabled son who I need to carry around. And so we sold the car back to the dealer, and also then had to spend more money buying another car, a diesel car, which was actually older than the one we've got. So it's just been a nightmare really, and something that should never happen, especially that Ford are aware of these problems. And Andy Barrett was talking this morning on BBC Breakfast about the so-called recall to some of these cars. Well, the Focus cars were recalled, but the C-Maxes and other models weren't recalled, and it's exactly the same issue. So potentially there's thousands more that this could happen to. So Ford really need to take action against them all before it happens.
So, Louise, is Rhiannon's story a typical one?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, I get over 100 stories a month that are similar to Rhiannon's, and it breaks my heart actually every time I see, because I know the type of anguish they're about to go through and the very frustrating process that they're going to go through with Ford, where Ford, simply don't want to take responsibility or be helpful to the customers that have spent thousands. So, it is a story that I see so often. And I know that Rhiannon had to take a car that now doesn't fit her son's wheelchair easily into. So she's further inconvenienced, even though she somehow, might have some sort of solution. She's still inconvenienced on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And Rhiannon, if you've had contact with Ford, have you tried to contact the company, and what kind of response have you had?
Well, to start off with, they would only respond to emails. Then I telephoned them, and basically the person I kept speaking to was as if she was reading off a script. She was like a robot, really. Didn't want to take responsibility, didn't answer any questions, just kept saying, just referring me back to the dealer, saying the dealer would negotiate on my behalf. And then in the end, they got quite threatening when I kept going and said, look, they'd offered 55%. That's all they were offering. Take it or leave it. That they weren't going to engage in any further conversation with me, and I wasn't to contact them again.
So you'll now get that 45% back, won't you, that you had to pay?
Hopefully now, yes. Looking at the news today, yes. So that'll be a great help.
Yeah, that's the case, isn't it, Louise? I mean, everyone's going to get everything.
Well, I think that's questionable. Listening to Andy Barrett speak this morning on BBC News, on the BBC Breakfast, he stated that it was only the 1 litre cars, the Focuses, that were recalled in 2015 for the field service action for the degas hose. So that's what he implied. It would only be those cars. Our car actually was returned in 2015 and had the new degas hose fitted, and yet it still blew up the following year. And I know that hundreds of the victims on my group, they have also had the new degas hose. I also know that many people have had their engines replaced and have experienced multiple failures. So, you know, the engine is the problem and does not fix the problem. So, yeah, I think Ford have got a long way to go to resolve this issue and, you know, bring back confidence from customers.
And what can you do about this? Because we've seen class action against the Volkswagen Group, haven't we, regarding what was going on with emissions and how that affected the value of cars, etc., etc. I mean, is this something you'd be prepared to do, Louise?
It's something that we've already started. So I've been fighting with Ford for over 2 years. You know, in that time, I've written hundreds of emails to Andy Barrett. He's responded just once, very briefly. I was invited to a meeting with them last year, but when I asked for the agenda, they withdrew the meeting request. We did, so I was pushed to kind of look at a group action. And earlier on this year, I engaged with a law firm, a large law firm called Roscoe Reed, and they agreed to pursue this on our behalf. So we announced in June of this year on a national basis that we were going to take legal action against Ford as a group, and yet Ford still had nothing to say to us, and they still didn't try to remedy the situation.
Right. Well, we'll wait for details of this announcement today. Thank you very much, Louise O'Riordan, and also Rhiannon Jones speaking to us from Cross Hands.
Let's talk about vegan gardening. Apparently this is
Hey?
yes.